I've read it, but I've heard of it.
So, we good? Welcome everybody to How to Change History. In an alternate timeline, this was hosted by Harry Turtledove, and this one, you're stuck with us. My name is Sean C.W. Korsgaard. I write for Alternate History Weekly Update. I'm a member of AlternateHistory.com, and I'm moderating this panel. As for fictional works, I'm wrapping up a novel where a spy novel set in the former Confederate States of America that has undergone a communist revolution. But enough about me, though. Let's hear from our panelists. Gentlemen, introductions.
My name is Bill Mulligan. I'm an indie filmmaker from North Carolina, and I teach high school science, but I love history. It would be my second favorite course to teach.
I'm Steve White. I'm a science fiction writer. So far I've had 23 novels published. Number 24 is coming out late this summer. I'm best known for military science fiction, the Starfire series that I co-authored first with David Weber and more recently with our guest of honor, Chuck Gannon. I've also written a series, which number 6 is coming out this summer, based on time travel. And at the present time, I work on what could best be described as an alternate history spy novel set in the 22nd century, or excuse me, the 23rd century of the timeline in which the American Revolution got patched up.
My name is Lou Antonelli. I'm a journalist by trade, and I've written 106 short stories, one of which, Great White Ship, was published in Daily Science Fiction in 2012 and was a finalist for the Sidewise Award in 2013. I finally got around a couple of years ago, after writing so many short stories, to try a novel-length book. This is it. It's called Another Girl, Another Planet. Just came out a few months ago. It was blurbed by Larry Niven. He read it. He said, "I loved it. Brilliant ideas, well told." One of the reasons I asked Mr. Niven to read the novel before it came out was he did a story, an alternate history story once called The Return of William Proxmire. And one of the central pieces of business in my story is the same thing. Heinlein goes back into the Navy and runs a space program in a different Cold War, where there's a space race instead of an arms race. Heinlein comes up with the idea of diverting the Russians' attention with space race rather than an arms race. The story is set in 1985 in an alternate timeline. It's a flashback though, because the protagonist is in the present day, and he's confronted by government agents who find a small graveyard on Mars and want to know what it's doing there. And apparently it's the only remnant from the alternate timeline that still exists. And so he tells them what the graves are doing on Mars. That's the story. It's complete alternate history, and you'll love it.
Well, I guess let's start the panel with a relatively simple question. The genre itself, alternate history. The simplest definition I've heard for the genre is that, in terms of speculative fiction, sci-fi is stuff that might happen, fantasy stuff that can't happen, and alternate history is stuff that might have happened. I guess just how do you define the genre yourselves?
I think that's some
Well, first of all, it's multi-layered. There's another dimension to subgenres of alternate history. There are two kinds: either straight alternate history, in which the omniscient author simply assumes that Hitler won World War II or the South won the Civil War or whatever, and proceeds from that assumption. And the other is the time travel alternate history, in which the creation of the alternate timeline is the actual plot mechanics, because time travelers go back and do something like sell AK-47s to the Confederate States of America, as Harry Turtledove the guns of the South. And typically in these, the dramatic conflict involves trying to change history, or more typically, to prevent the bad guys from changing history. So either way, you have to come up with some plausible change. And by plausible change, I mean, number one, something that could have been changed, and number two, if changed, would have had the results you expect.
One of the other titles that's used for alternate history stories is counterfactual. In other words, you're writing a fictional account fictional narrative, that is admittedly counterfactual to what really happened. Which can still be very interesting, it's also very speculative. Because people always in their lives attempt to analyze, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if the other thing happened? There's a number, of stories that have been done over the years. Sometimes it's simply romantic comedies about what if you married someone else. Because the choice of spouse oftentimes is the most important thing in your life. So it allows us to do those thought experiments. We've already mentioned, like, everybody deals with the big issues. What would have happened if Hitler lost, Hitler won, Hitler didn't? I'm scared to death that someday we're going to have, like, so many Nazis won World War II alternate histories that the collectivity will influence us psychically. And one morning we're going to wake up and they did friggin' win because we kept talking about it. Now, talking about it on a personal level, we all do these, speculations. What would have happened if something else happened different in my life? One day I was watching television, and Lady Gaga was there, wearing something. And, and Lady Gaga's real name is Stephanie Germanotta. She's about the age would have been my daughter if I'd stayed in New York instead of moving to Texas in 1985. I moved to Texas, I married a Texas girl. I said to my, if I didn't leave New York City and stayed in New York and I married a local girl, that'd be my daughter. And I'd be chasing her all through the tri-state area. Stephanie, put your clothes back on. Stop dancing like that. It's a personal alternate history. You always wonder what would have happened if you did this, if you did X, you did Y, you took a left, you took a right. I mean, I botched my college selection. I went to Columbia University because I wanted to be a journalist, and I completely didn't realize it's a graduate faculty. I didn't even have an undergraduate major prepared. I booted it. I didn't even get a college degree. I ultimately didn't graduate. But if I hadn't gone to Columbia, I would have met this fellow from Texas who became a good friend of mine. If I hadn't met him, I wouldn't have gone to Texas. If I hadn't gone to Texas, I wouldn't have met my wife. You know what the dedication to my book is? Dedication to my book is the best thing I've ever written. It's, hold on, to Patricia. The only time I'm ever at a loss for words is when I try to describe how much you mean to me. So that's the most important thing that ever happened in my life. And it was an accident because I accidentally went to the wrong college. So you never know what's going to happen.
The road not taken.
Yeah.
And I believe both Steve and Lou brought it up. Seems like every other alternate history novel involves either the South winning the Civil War or the Axis powers winning World War II.
Or the Spanish Armada carrying it off, especially the British ones.
Was it Soren Kierkegaard or some philosopher who said he's had days when he was so mad at the human race he wanted to take a time machine and be at a submarine and torpedo the Ark?
One thing I think we need to bear in mind is that the things in history, the possible turning points in history that might have really made a difference, aren't necessarily the best known events.
It's true.
Well, for example, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that nobody in this room has ever heard of the Battle of Fehrbellin in 1676. What this was all about was, at that particular time in the European dynastic war game, France found itself on opposite sides from the electorate of Brandenburg in northern Germany. So the French subsidized their ally Sweden, which at that time was a major regional power, to invade Brandenburg and put an end to this nuisance. Now, Brandenburg at that time was ruled by the Elector Frederick William, better known as the Great Elector. He got to be called the Great Elector because he won the Battle of Fehrbellin and stopped the Swedish invasion. Now, later on, Brandenburg got promoted from an electorate to a kingdom, except that then it was called Prussia. Basically, this was the genesis of Prussia, which, as we all know, was the kernel around which eventually was unified the Germany of the Kaiser and of Hitler. Now, what if this very little known battle had gone the other way? Interesting speculation. I suppose it could be speculated that Sweden might have gone on to unify Germany instead, but they would have had a tougher row to hoe because they would have been swimming against the tide of 19th century linguistic nationalism. The Prussians at least spoke German.
See, it seems like there's two ways of looking at changing history. There's the ones where you have to go back and do something major, kill a Hitler, change the course of the battle. And then there's the Ray Bradbury butterfly effect, where you just have to basically go back in time and screw up, step on a butterfly, everything changes from that point on. The further back you go, the less major change you have to make to really screw things up.
I've never gone along with the butterfly flapping its wings theory, simply because there are billions and billions of butterflies all flapping their wings, and whatever effect is produced by all this butterfly wing flapping is not going to be measurably affected by stomping one of them.
Did you ever hear